Picture an unrestrained wilderness, with wolves howling in the deep woods, and the murmuring of rivers brooding secrets of frontiersmen building existence out of the earth. And there is a figure emerging from this group, a symbol of the spirit of defiance and exploration, Davy Crockett, the one they called the king of the wild frontier. But who was Davy Crockett, truly? Was he the iconic larger-than-life hero enshrined in legend, or a more nuanced individual? Join us as we uncover the story of a man who lived, fought, and died in a world as unforgiving as it was full of promise. Whether in the Appalachian forests, in the House of Representatives, or that fateful stand at the Alamo, Crockett's life is a quest through the struggle and the glory of early America. Hunting, trapping, and living off the land. At the age of 12, Davy's life took a turn when he was sent to school. However, his education was short-lived. Having been upset by a school bully, he fled, dreading the rejective treatment in store from his father. This marked the beginning of an adventurous journey, during which Crockett traveled across states, working various jobs, including as a cattle driver, woodsman, and laborer. This formative period toughened him into a resilient, resourceful man. They also gave him a multitude of stories, which he would go on to weave, which endeared him to the people who appreciated the combination of his rugged personality and outlaw cleverness. Despite limited formal education, Crockett developed a sharp mind and a natural charisma that would later serve him well in public life. Crockett's reputation as a hunter and sharpshooter spread quickly. Tales of his exploits, such as killing over 100 bears in a single hunting season, elevated him to local fame. By the 1820s, Crockett had settled in Tennessee with his first wife, Polly Finley, with whom he had 3 children. After Polly's death, he remarried Elizabeth Patton, a widow with 2 children of her own. Together, they raised a blended family on their frontier homestead. Crockett's entry into politics was based on his successful appeal to the masses. In 1821, he became a member of the Tennessee state legislature, where he was well known for his direct style and talent at storytelling. He also progressed in 1827 when he was sent to the U.S. House of Representatives. Crockett's tenure in Congress was made particularly memorable by his opposition to the President Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act of 1830, a stand at odds with his political peers but which nonetheless reflected a dedication to principle instead of partisan affiliation. Although his political career had ups and downs, Crockett remained a beloved figure among his constituents. His speeches and writings reflected his deep connection to the struggles of ordinary Americans, and his persona as a self-made man resonated in a rapidly changing nation. The more Crockett's fame expanded, so did the legends that clustered around him. His coonskin cap was, and becomes, an iconic symbol of the individualism of the frontiersman of the American West. Tall stories pictured him as a great man, one who could wrestle bears, leap rivers, and defeat any adversary with a mixture of courage and cleverness. Many of these tales were perpetuated by Crockett himself. Recognizing the power of storytelling, he published an autobiography in 1834, a narrative of the life of David Crockett. The autobiography was a bestseller, providing Crockett legend status, further and deeper. Folklore surrounding Crockett became deeply ingrained in American culture. Songs like the Ballad of Davy Crockett, plays, and later films and television shows immortalized his adventures. In the Disney television series of the 1950s, captained by Fess Parker, young Crockett became a pop culture icon, stimulating a whole generation of Americans to respect his pioneer spirit. In 1835, Crockett's adventurous spirit led him to Texas, which was in the throes of a revolution against Mexican rule. Having lost faith in politics and wanting to start anew, Crockett traveled with a band of volunteers to Texas, where they hoped to buy land and to fight for Texan independence. Less than 200 men stood against an army of thousands commanded by the Mexican general Antonio López de Santa Anna. Despite the overwhelming tide, Crockett and his comrades foraged, armed, and ready, to stand for the Alamo with ferocity and intent. The siege of the Alamo lasted 13 days, ending on March 6, 1836, when Mexican forces overran the fort. While the exact circumstances of Crockett's death remain debated, accounts suggest that he fought valiantly to the end. His sacrifice at the Alamo solidified his place as a symbol of bravery and resistance in the face of adversity. Crockett's life is frequently a place where lines between reality and fantasy cross. Though he was clearly a skilled frontiersman and a tenacious champion of the common man, much of the lore about him was molded to the image of a burgeoning and idealistic new America. The legends of Crockett did not just exist in his time but also represented the nation's yearning for larger-than-life figures. His coonskin cap, his exploits as a hunter, and his legendary wit were all elements of a carefully constructed image that resonated with Americans seeking symbols of resilience and independence. Since then, historians have endeavored to disentangle the man from the myth. Although some were quite obviously made up, The tall tales also tell us a great deal more about what people wanted. Crockett's capacity to fuse reality with fantasy has been what makes him an incredibly unique American legend. Davy Crockett's impact on American culture is profound. His life has been told and retold in thousands of books, movies, and songs. In the 1950s, Walt Disney's film adaptation of his childhood life ignited a national fad in which children wore coonskin caps and sang the Ballad of Davy Crockett. Crockett also represents a deeper, symbolic role. He is commonly regarded as the icon of cowboy individualism and toughness, traits the Americans have always loved. His life and legacy still stimulate debates regarding the relationship between history and myth. However, Crockett's legacy is not without controversy. Because of the latter's contributions to westward expansion and their effect on Native Americans, his legacy is the focus of much critical rethinking. While celebrated as a hero by many, his life also serves as a lens through which to examine the complexities of American history. Davy Crockett's life is a parable of the power to fabricate narrative. Being a man, he was born into his time, faced with the perils of the frontier and politics. As a legend, he became something far greater, a symbol of American identity and ambition. However, what does it entail to make someone a legend? Crockett's tale forces us to consider how we mythologize historical people, molding them to our vision while at times dimming their intricacy. And in the end, Davy Crockett is a powerful reminder of the interplay between history and legend, between fact and fiction. His lore lives on, not only as the king of the wild frontier, but as a human whose story still cries out in the soul of America.